This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
In today's lesson, Ryan will be breaking down the step-by-step of how he's making $30,000 a month by making videos that he doesn't make. Let's go. Hey, what is going on, my fellow money-making fanatics and business-building junkies? Welcome to today's episode of the Millionaire University Podcast, the only school where you graduate rich, not broke. I am your Chief Money-Making Officer, Justin Williams, and the host for today's episode. Today, we have a treat for you. Today, we'll be learning from young buck Ryan Atkinson, who is only 25 years old and is currently making $30,000 a month with his video production making company. The cool thing about Ryan is Ryan doesn't even know a ton about making videos. I mean, I'm sure he does now, but he saw a need in the market. He filled it. He's killing it. He only started his business 18 months ago, and this month he's on track to do $30,000. What I love about Ryan and this episode is he keeps it super simple. And in this episode, he breaks down the exact step-by-step for how he is getting clients through cold email outreach. And it's a system that you can use across any industry, in any business. We're about to start using it in our own business. It's really exciting. We've talked about it in the past a little bit with Adam of EOC Works in episode 146. Ryan is also the host of the UpFlip Podcast, where I was recently interviewed in episode 149. Go check that out after listening to this episode if you want. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get on with the main event. I give you the one, the only Ryan Atkinson. Yeah, why don't you share with us a little bit of your background, Ryan?
Yeah, well, I'm Ryan Atkinson. I am currently the CEO and co-founder of Spacebar Visuals. We're a video production agency that does product demos, customer testimonials, explainer videos, all of that. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was raised by two entrepreneurial parents. My 3 W's of entrepreneurship are work when you want, with who you want, and work where you want. And I knew I wanted that to be true shortly after college. So always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was involved with Founders Club at the University of Iowa, which you start a business on. Fun fact, I actually got the lowest grade in the class based on that. So kind of a fun little tidbit there. But went to HubSpot to work as a BDR in a sales role after school in Boston. Moved to a marketing role, and that was intentional as I wanted to have a sales and marketing background before I started a business. Always had a goal to start a business by 25, and that came true with Spacebar Visuals when I started it around 24 years old.
I love that, man. A lot of times people want to start their business right away, which is what I did. Dropped out of college and just started. And that's not bad if that's your personality. I couldn't be held back, but we lost a ton of money. I was telling people, you can learn and get paid to learn. That's a great place to be. So, but I love that you had the intention of that. You were like, I'm going to go to HubSpot. I'm going to learn sales. I'm going to learn marketing, develop those skills. And I'm going to go start my own thing. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was intentional, like I said, because HubSpot was such a great place to learn for. This is a company that is always voted a top 10 place to work for amongst Google's and those companies. So The people there were awesome. And I genuinely feel like I got like an MBA in sales in the like 10 months I was there. So yeah, definitely there is 2 courses you can take. You can take the course of like, oh, I'm just going to start right after school, which is definitely okay. That works for a lot of people. Or you can go work for a year or 2, then, or even 10 years and then start out. I decided to go about 2 years and then take the jump into full-time entrepreneurship.
I love it. Or you can do your thing on the side until it builds up type thing, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Basically, last August, it hit me, August 2023. I was working Spacebar Visuals on the side and working for that health tech company, that marketing role. I was like, what are the variables that I need to put in place to actually jump and like leave my job? And for people that are like a little bit risk adverse, I grew up with like risk adverse parents, and I said they're entrepreneurs, but they're so risk adverse. For people that are risk adverse and want to take that jump into entrepreneurship, I always advise like lay out an actual action plan that like if you hit these goals, these measurable goals, that you'll feel confident in leaving. And that's exactly what I did. Came to like October 2023 and I was like, oh, I hit them all. So quit my job and started to do Spacebar Visuals full time.
What were those goals? I think people would be interested in hearing that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I had like 3 or 4 goals. My first goal is we had to be doing a certain amount of revenue a month. So definitely like lay out that plan, like know your costs, your break-even costs, and definitely have revenue above that. 2, I wanted a certain amount of money in my bank account. So if like Spacebar Visuals for some reason decided to go under a month or 2 in, I had enough runway for that. Number 3, I need to buy my own computer. So that one was pretty easy. And I'll leave it at 3. I think there was only 3. There's one that I'm blanking, but those 3 I definitely had for sure.
I love it. And I assume revenue was based on your expenses to a degree and your personal expenses. That would be depending on the person. If you have a family and a mortgage, it might be you want to save lower revenue. And then money in the bank, probably like 6 months. Or, I don't know. What were you looking for money in the bank?
Yeah, honestly, I think I had about 3 months. I was a single 24-year-old at the time. I'm still a single 24-year-old, but like I didn't have like a family or kids. So worst comes to work, I'm eating peanut butter sandwiches for dinner every day.
That's the thing, man. A lot of people are like, oh, I need a year, all this stuff. And I'm like, well, you're just going to never work again. Like if things don't work out, you can always go get another job, right? Like anyway, so, okay, I love that. So one of the things that you mentioned that we could talk about was, so you've been doing Spacebar Visuals and let me know if I'm saying the name wrong. I'm sorry. Spacebar, Visuals for.
Yep.
Has it been a year or 2 years? 18 months ish?
It's been about, I want to say about 18 months, about a year and a half. January 2020.
You're a true entrepreneur because we have no clue of time, right?
Yeah.
I literally, if I'm going to do an interview, I have to like go back and do like a time log of everything. So I don't sound like I'm just making stuff up because people are like, wait.
Yeah.
So tell us, I mean, you said that you guys are, what are you at right now in revenue?
Yeah, absolutely. So our revenue, we're about doing $20,000 a month. This month, we're probably going to have our best month in revenue, and that's going to be like in the low to mid 30s. But yeah, we're about at $20,000 a month. Our break-even costs are about $13,000 to $14,000. I was just doing it the other day. So profit margins are super healthy. That's the one thing about an agency model is once you start having those consistent, your average break-even cost being around that $14,000, anything over that is just straight profit. So that is a nice thing about an agency model is your profit margins can get pretty healthy if you can keep your break-even costs low.
I love it. So started about 18 months ago. First of all, what does Spacebar Visuals do?
Yep, we're a video agency. So we work with, the problem that we identified was marketers want video. Who doesn't want video? There are 1,000 stats to back up video right now. Attention spans are dwindling. Like people want video. But marketers have like 30,000 things they need to be doing. They need to be doing paid ads. They need to be doing social campaigns. They need to do attribution reporting. They need to be meeting with leadership. The last thing that they can do and attribute time to is creating videos. So what we do is we handle the script writing, the storyboard, the animation, and the voiceover for marketers to be able to post it on their website, social media, super hands-off way for them to get video.
From your background, it sounds like you're not like into video for your background, right? Or are you?
It's funny, Justin, because like I was talking about this yesterday, like going into Spacebar Visuals, I didn't know anything about video, literally a lick about video. We just identified like a trend, like people want video. We've wanted to sell into software companies. We wanted to work with marketers, and those 3 things combined together and out came Spacebar Visuals. So yeah, I do not have a background.
Well, you knew marketing and you knew sales. So it's more like what's the thing, the product or service, and you identified that, you saw that people needed this, so you jumped into it. I love it. So now you're going to walk us through, you said you did 100,000 your first year, essentially, and you're going to walk us through how you did that.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting to $100,000 is like, that's a big accomplishment. Once we hit $100,000, like, holy smokes, we're like a 6-figure agency. It's crazy to get your first sale.
You're legit.
Yeah, you're legit. And honestly, once you get your first sale, I remember we got it in like March 2023. It was like, oh my gosh, this is a legit business. And then March this past year, we hit $100,000. Like that is crazy to think about. There's a 4-step process that we use, and I'm going to highlight it at like a very high level to start out with. One is if you guys want to get to $100,000 in revenue, here you guys can copy this formula. Number one, get a list from Upwork. Have a VA scrape a list of like your ICP. So identify the job titles you're going after, the industry you're going after, and just have a VA from Upwork for $100. They'll get you like 1,000 contacts of first name, last name, email address, phone number, company name, all that good stuff. So that's the foundation of people you're going to target.
What does ICP stand for? I'm sorry.
Ideal customer profile.
Okay. Gotcha. So you want to have someone scrape your ideal customer profile, go on to Upwork, get 1,000 names essentially.
Yeah.
Where would they be scraping these from?
There's a ton of tools out there. You can do it yourself, honestly, if you want. But basically, they'd be scraping it from like LinkedIn. So they would identify LinkedIn, they would do all the variables and stuff and would get you a list of 1,000 contacts of the criteria that you have.
Okay. So go on to Upwork. What kind of person are you looking for to do this for you?
Honestly, it's pretty easy work. So the cheapest person that can deliver on a good timeline, I would probably advise you to do. A lot of people will do about 10 cents to 15 cents a contact. So I would find someone that's pretty cheap that can deliver and like was going to be able to deliver. So that's what I would look for. You can definitely find someone in the Philippines to do it for pretty cheap.
Okay. But there's like a VA. You're not looking for any certain title. You're looking for like data collector or something like that.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of VAs will be able to do it, but you can get more nitty gritty with it if you want to do like data collection or lead generation list. That's another way to do it as well.
Okay. So you identify the customer that you're looking for. You go on Upwork, you have them pull 1,000 names. What's next?
So number 2 after that, you're going to want to start to do emails, cold emails to them. And there's a lot of tools out there. We use instantly.io. And this is where you're going to be able to send automated email campaigns at scale. So we're sending about 15,000 emails a month right now. We want to get to 20,000 emails a month. So we're sending a ton of emails. So set up your email campaign, write good copy, upload the list into there, and start sending that email campaign to that targeted list. And we can definitely go into like techniques we use. But yeah, other steps off of that would be to also use a LinkedIn automation tool and email them on LinkedIn or message them on LinkedIn as well. And then also cold call that same list. So you're hitting the same person about 3 different ways and trying to get as many touch points as possible on them.
Okay, let's dive into that. So you're doing the cold emails. It's interesting. We just are getting set up right now with Sendly. Is that what it's called?
Sure.
Yeah.
No idea.
What was the cold email, the tool that you mentioned?
We use Instantly.
Instantly. You're like, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're literally getting set up with them right now. My assistant is dealing with all of it. But yeah, so we're in this cold email outreach, learning about it and stuff as well. I've learned a little bit about it in the past, but it's like, is it like a bigger thing more recently or no? I mean, it's always been a thing, I guess, right?
Yeah, cold email has like always been a thing. People say cold email is dead, and there might be some truth to that. But at the end of the day, like you have to send cold emails. I think some of the biggest deals we've closed this year have come from cold email, and our highest close rate actually comes from cold email. So email is not dead, actually.
You know what I found? Anyone who's selling anything says everything else is dead except for the thing that they're selling.
Exactly.
That's what I found. But the truth is, like, nothing is dead. There's a million ways to make $1 million, right? Like, it's just, it's not.
I say that all the time. There are so many ways to make money in this world. You just have to find one and take action on it.
Exactly. It's like, it's all the numbers. It's like, hey, if I reach out to this many people via email, how many are going to respond? How much did it cost me for the VA to do it? What's your cost to acquire that customer? And do the numbers work? And can you scale it? Like, that's all that matters, right? So
that's what I've learned a lot from the UpFlip podcast is the interviews that I've had on the UpFlip podcast. Like entrepreneurs, the really, really good ones know their metrics to like a T, and they just reverse engineer those metrics. So they know exactly how many emails they need to send a month to get a meeting. From that, they know their close rate. And then from that, they know their average deal size. So they can actually have like predictable revenue a month. And so that's something from the UpFlip podcast I've learned a ton about is like reverse engineer those metrics, know your metrics, and then reverse engineer it to actually have predictable revenue.
And it's like you got to take that action because action leads to information, which allows you to adjust and adapt. But once you get that dialed in, it's like it gets exciting. It starts out, you got the idea, you take action on it. At first, you're excited. And then it's like after that, you're like, oh, crap, like this is hard and you struggle.
Yeah.
And then if and when you can stay in there long enough, you feel like you want to quit 100 times, stay long enough, you start to get some traction, and then it starts to get fun. And then a little bit after that, like if you can apply a little bit of scale, then it's like, it's game over. But this is your interview, not mine. I like to talk.
No, I love it. That is the thing. Like going back to like what you said, like entrepreneurship is, if you talk to any entrepreneur, like no entrepreneur is going to say like it is easy. Like you will have the lowest of lows, but you also have like the highest of highs. I always say you try to really stay like equilibrium. Like you don't want to go too high or too low, but like once you're in the nitty gritty of it, like it is really hard sometimes when you're looking at like your cash flow and you're like, oh my God, like how am I going to be paying for payroll? Like it's a hard thing. Entrepreneurship is not easy, but it is so worth it. It's so rewarding.
So it's funny because yesterday around 5:15, I was actually doing research for these interviews today. And I just started to feel, I was looking out, like we currently have like this ocean view, and I was looking at the surfers, and
oh, it's beautiful.
I'm just like working, right? And I'm like, I don't want to work. I started to feel like this. But I knew I've been in this spot enough, like literally several times per week, where I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Because I'm at a point where I don't have to work, right? So it's like, the drive isn't there as much to make the money.
Yeah.
But when I took time off, I didn't feel fulfilled. Yeah. So it's like, I just know by now, because it happens so often, I know within minutes or within the next day or within the next hour, I'm going to be juiced up again and ready to go, right? So mentally, just knowing that, giving yourself a breather and then getting back in it, then you just keep cranking. So
yeah, it is really important for entrepreneurs, I think, to set those boundaries. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, maybe like even like 10 or 15 years ago, there was like a really big, like, you need to be working 60 to 70 hours a week. Like you have to be doing it. I feel like now, at least with like how I'm approaching entrepreneurship, is like, I have like pretty set boundaries. Like I'm not going to work on the weekends. If I'm working on a weekend, hell has to be breaking loose for me to actually think about working on the weekend. Like I have very strict boundaries on that. And that really helps prevent like burnout and stuff. And it like really helps me show up as my best self. Cause like if personally you're not happy, it's going to bleed over to your professional life. So I am a big advocate for that in entrepreneurship.
I agree 100%. I could talk about that for an hour, but we'll move on. So the cold emails and the LinkedIn outreach, like I assume there's some similarities in the messaging.
Yep.
How many emails are you sending out? Like who's reaching out on LinkedIn? Just dive into the nitty gritty of some of this for me.
Yeah, let's stick with the cold email first. I'll give out the template that we use, and we actually use this at HubSpot. So HubSpot is obviously like a world-renowned organization when it comes to sales. Specifically, they hire 30 entry-level sales roles like a summer, and like they just fill it. Like it's an organization that knows. What we use at HubSpot and what we use at Spacebar Visuals to get to 100K in revenue in the first year is called the 4T template. Don't know who made it up, but shout out to whoever did. So what the 4T template is, it's 4 T's in an email. Your first T is truth. What is true about this person? Hey, Justin, saw you're the CEO at Millionaire University, something like that. Just grab their attention, make it personalized. That second one is think. That second one is think. Like other busy CEOs, I'm sure you're probably worried about cash flow, something to get them to think about. And I'm just word vomiting right here. The third one would be third-party valuation. We're working with 50 other organizations to help their cash flow by XYZ% and help their runway by XYZ%. So you want to have that validation of, hey, we're working with other companies and here are the benefits that they're experiencing working with us. And that fourth T is talk. And that one's going to be any interest in a conversation, any interest in see how we can do the same for you, click send. That's how we structured all of our emails at HubSpot. I'm a high majority at HubSpot, but that is how we structured all of our emails at Spacebar Visuals to get to 100K.
I love it, man. And it's super quick. You're saying important things, but it's really fast. And it's kind of how our brain thinks, right? Like someone's addressing me. And then in a way I'm like, no, yes, you're right. I am the CEO. Okay, this person knows who I am. And then you're getting me thinking, but it's not too long that you're validating with other people that you're working with. So I'm like, who is this? Who's this guy? What's going on? And then the fourth was talk. What was talk again?
That's basically like your call to action. It's like any interest in a conversation or like, let's set up 30 minutes to talk.
To talk. Take it to the next level.
Yep.
Shopify's already taken the cash register online, helping millions sell billions around the world. But did you know that Shopify can do the same thing at your retail store? Give your point of sale system a serious upgrade with Shopify. Shopify POS is your command center for your retail store. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify has everything you need to sell in person. With Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock. Connect with customers in-line and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns from TikTok to Instagram and beyond. Get hardware that fits your business. Take payments by smartphone. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/MU, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/MU to take your retail business to the next level today. Shopify.com/MU.
We'll be back right after this.
You ever had someone in your life who's spending a lot of money and they have no idea and they're absolutely clueless? I'm not talking about you and I when we first got married. I'm talking about teenagers.
Monarch has been a game changer, not only for us, but for our entire family. Our kids are saving for cars, moving out, for their businesses. They're starting to learn about investing and starting to grow their nest egg for their financial future. The coolest things about Monarch is you can collaborate with your partner, financial advisor. You can customize it however you want.
It's super easy to use. No one wants to spend hours juggling accounts or having some crazy spreadsheet in some random email in a black hole. You can log into Monarch and see it all in minutes.
I've tried other apps, but nothing works like Monarch.
Monarch is as powerful as the tools used by certified financial planners. You can customize a dashboard, create budgets and notifications. You can even set up automatic rules for transactions, notifications, and more.
After trying Monarch for myself, I can understand why it's the top-rated personal finance app. And right now, listeners of this show will get an extended 30-day free trial when you go to monarchmoney.com/MU. That's monarchmoney.com/MU for your extended 30-day free trial.
Okay, I love that. So what are we doing from there?
Yeah, so I'd recommend anyone to copy that 4T template if you're listening to guys like this, like genuinely work to get to 100K. So just Google 4T template. There's a ton on there and happy to answer any questions on that. So that's what we did for all of our emails. And we would send 5 emails to one person over like a week and a half, 2-week span. So we're sending a ton of emails to one person. All those are going to have different messaging, but same structure.
And that's assuming they don't respond, right? Those are like
exactly. Yeah.
You're going to send up to 5 emails until they respond. And if they respond, then I assume you stop sending those emails and just start.
Exactly. If they respond, if they say, no, get out of my inbox, obviously we are going to respect that. But if they're like, hey, let's set up a conversation, obviously you're going to end the sequence there.
Okay. And is that something that is all happening through, tell me what it's called again?
Instantly. Yep. So that's all happening through Instantly, and Instantly has a way where like you can just email directly through the platform and stuff. So super simple to do.
So you go through, you set up all the emails, and do they all follow the same kind of formula, the 4 T's?
Yeah, so all of our emails will follow the basically the same formula. Obviously, we're going to switch it up, and all our messaging is not the same. Like you're definitely going to A/B test like your subject lines and even your copy. So like please A/B test and see what works best for you. That's just a common good sales practice to have. But yeah, those 5 emails are typically going to follow that 4T template.
And is it like, you know how they do where you see the email and it like replies to the email, like it's like a thread?
Exactly. Yep, it's a thread. It's an email thread.
Okay. And is it kind of the next one, you probably don't have to say, hey, Justin, the CEO of Millionaire University, right? Like,
yeah.
Do you still like address them? Like, what's the second one look like versus the first one?
Yeah. So the second one is, if we're talking about like a cash flow perspective, it could be like other CEOs, you're probably super worried about your cash flow period. Then that second T of think of like, how is your team currently managing like your cash flow in 2024? Then 3, that third party evaluation, ask them to talk again.
So it's basically like you think of any pain points, anything that you like, if you're writing a sales letter and you essentially take that sales letter and break it down, or sales page, break it down into like 5 emails, right? Like put some pain points here, like try to get them at the first thing, but it allows you, or even like a long email, but break it up into like 5 emails.
Exactly.
Try to hit some pain points. I assume at the beginning you're a little more cordial. I assume you stay cordial, but do you ever like push it a little harder?
I personally don't. I try not to be like a pushy salesperson with any of my interactions within email or even on calls. It actually, I just don't like pushy salespeople. Everyone has had a bad pushy salesperson experience, so I try not to be.
Yeah, you don't want people complaining or like leaving you a bad review or ruining your reputation or anything like that.
Exactly. So yeah, try to avoid that.
Okay. What's next?
So next would be, so you're going to combine your email outreach with LinkedIn outreach. And so we use a tool called LinkedIn Helper. And it's a super simple software to get started with like LinkedIn messaging. Essentially, we only send about 3 messages through LinkedIn, but basically it's the same messaging that we're going to use. Like, hey, saw you're the CEO at Millionaire University. I'm sure you're worried about cash flow, those types of. Okay. So we're following a pretty similar template. We only do 3 on LinkedIn though. So we're hitting them with a bunch of different points.
Okay. And you're emailing the same person that you're also hitting on LinkedIn?
Yep, exactly.
So when the VA gets the information for you, they're getting their LinkedIn information, they're getting their email, and they're getting their phone number.
Yep, exactly.
And so I think you said the 5 emails go out over how many weeks? Like 2 weeks?
A week and a half, 2 weeks, yeah.
A week and a half, 2 weeks. When are you hitting them on LinkedIn? Just spreading it out in between, essentially?
Yeah, spreading it out in between. Our LinkedIn cadences go out like every other day. So it's going to be much quicker on LinkedIn. But the most important thing is just like to get touch points on them. So that's when it comes at the end of the day, like you just want to get touch points. So send them it on LinkedIn as well, for sure.
Because you don't know if they're getting the email.
Exactly.
Like when you're reaching out on LinkedIn, you don't know. So it's got to be independent. And it probably is the same message as you're sending in the first email, I assume. The first LinkedIn message is probably the same.
Exactly. Our reply rates on LinkedIn are much higher than an email, actually. Sometimes they'll say no, but at least like they're replying, and that's still like a huge win. But yeah, our reply rates are actually much higher on LinkedIn. I have a quick story. We just closed a deal this month actually from LinkedIn where our BDR reached out to him in like May or something. I don't know. And we started conversations then. Sent over the proposal, didn't hear back from him at all. I kept emailing him like, hey, like, are you going to close or not? Obviously, I changed the messaging there, but just emailing him. And he would not reply through email. And the BDR, Cody, who is a stud, I love him. He is like, just try him on LinkedIn. I was like, okay. Message him on LinkedIn. He replied. We had a time set up and he signed like 2 days later. So people are just sometimes more receptive to LinkedIn.
I love it. Speaking of response rates, what are your typical like email response rates? What can someone look for? I mean, you're sending out 15,000 to 20,000 emails a month, you said, right?
Yeah. So entrepreneurship is not always pretty. We've seen our reply rates in July actually like take not a pretty big dip, but like a dip for sure. And obviously it's a seasonal thing. People are on vacation. They don't want to take meetings. Like, oh my, like stop bugging me. It's the middle of July. Like I'm trying to spend time with my kids and be outside. So it's very fair. I would say anything over like 2 to 3% like is probably pretty darn good. I believe we're operating this month at like 1 to 1.5%.
Now, is that based on email or is that based on person that you're reaching out to?
That like 1.5% is based on like our total emails that we've sent. So yeah.
So if you're sending like 5 emails to one person, now I know some of them respond before you finish, but if you're reaching out to, let's say 100 people just to make the numbers easy.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that you're going to be able to hear back from 3% of those, would you say? Is that overall?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And they're not always going to be positive replies. Like that reply rate includes negative replies. So, but yeah, you can expect to probably hear back from like 3 people or so.
Okay. So 3%-ish from people total, but 1 to 2%, 1.5 to 3%. Anyway, I'm kind of botching the numbers. You guys heard what I meant.
Yeah. Obviously, the rates are going to depend on industry, but I would say anything over like 3 or 4% reply rates, like probably pretty good.
Okay. And then on LinkedIn?
I actually do not have those metrics. LinkedIn Helper doesn't provide those, I don't think. Maybe I should be doing my research on LinkedIn Helper, but we see a much higher reply rate on LinkedIn. I don't know exactly what it is. I can't give you those numbers, but we have seen a much higher reply rate.
Okay. And I'm backtracking here, but what's the cost of like instantly? Like if someone's going to be sending out that many?
Great question.
What's that look like?
Yeah, so we are on Instantly's. I think we're on their biggest plan. I believe it's $97 a month. So for the cost of a list, LinkedIn Helper's $15. Instantly is $97 a month. So you're looking at a $212, $213 a month to reach out to these people.
And just so people are clear, like I mentioned this to you on before, but we recently did a call or an interview on cold email outreach. Like what Instantly is doing essentially is if you send out a bunch of emails from your domain, you're going to get spammed essentially, right? You're going to get blacklisted. It's going to mess up your domain. Am I correct in this? We literally have had that happen recently, right? We're recovering from it. Like we're okay. But so Instantly, like it takes a couple weeks. They're going to want to warm up their emails. They're going to have some domains and all that stuff, right? Like we're on the same page. Like just so people are aware, this will take a couple weeks. Now, is this something that people can do on their own? Like, we actually have hired someone to kind of help us, like, get this all set up.
Love it.
But people can do this on their own? Like, do they just find domains that are similar to theirs or sound similar to what they're trying to do? Like, does Instantly take care of all that? Or like, do you have to like know some of that?
Instantly does not take care of that. And that is actually a phenomenal point that I did not make. You do not want to be sending emails from your main domain. So ours is at spacebarvisuals.com. We don't send emails from that. I have it pulled up here. Some of our domains that we use are tryspacebarvisuals.com, go spacebarvisuals.com, get spacebarvisuals.com, spacebar-visuals.com. You kind of get the point. So we had to buy all of those domains. So your costs are going to go up. I should say that. So we had to buy those domains, and you wanted to be doing outbound on that. Do not do outbound on your main domain. Definitely do not. I do not advise that.
And then when people respond, then are you responding in your main domain, or is it still the same? It's just the same email chain, right? So it'd probably be the same.
Yep, I'm just responding with that same domain.
But you still have the email signature goes to your company and stuff like that.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Most people don't even think about it, I assume. Or do people notice sometimes? What have you found?
We haven't heard anything like, because we do it, like I can tell when people are doing outbound on me when it's like go millionaireuniversity.com. Like I can tell just because my eyes, like I think in a very sales and marketing way, but I can tell, but no one has directly said anything to us.
Okay. What percentage of people are open and responsive versus are getting upset? I mean, I used to flip 100 houses a year, right? So when we're sending out email, like we're getting all kinds of calls and email, like, and it's like we would almost talk about those things and laugh about it because it made you feel good instead of feel bad, right? So I just want people to be prepared that like part of business is you're going to have people that are going to complain, right?
Oh, for sure.
So is it like 50% of the people that respond or higher?
That's a good question. I'm honestly going to go higher. I think higher. When I pull up my LinkedIn helper right now, I wish I could like share, or I guess I could share my screen, but we are running an outbound campaign right now on LinkedIn, and we've gotten 8 replies so far. I'm going to count all the ones that have said no. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 8 have said no. So I would definitely go higher. But,
okay, cool.
Those 2 that have replied, that can be a huge win for you.
Totally. And just because they said no, maybe some of them said no in a nice way.
Exactly. A lot of them said no, thank you, no thanks. There's some people that you just catch on a bad day, but just look past that.
Totally. Well, what's crazy is what I found is people want to make a lot of money. They want to live a financially free life, but they don't want to have rejection. Like business is not like, it's not easy, but it's not that hard, right? Like you're literally sending out emails. You found out how to do it when you work in a HubSpot. So HubSpot does this too? Or HubSpot's more of a content, right? They more focus on creating the content. Like how do you learn this?
Yeah, HubSpot in the BDR role specifically, we would send like from one email, we would I think like 3,000 to 4,000 emails a month just from our like Ryan@HubSpot.com domain.
Okay.
So yeah, HubSpot, I promise you, they're sending emails at scale. Like I am a witness to it, and they would call those same people as well.
Is it more people that have reached out to you guys though, to HubSpot, or?
We do get inbound traffic. So people would sometimes be like, oh, I want to request a demo, or like I'm downloading this white paper on the 7 steps to implement AI. And we would do outreach on that. But a lot of times at HubSpot, like people are cold and you're just reaching out to them because you know that they're on LinkedIn, or you know that they're on Salesforce and it's a competitor rip, or that they changed jobs in the past 90 days. They might be evaluating HubSpot, all that good stuff.
Okay, cool. But that's not where you learned how to send cold email in this way, like through Instantly, right? Or no, that
was learning on the fly, but HubSpot gave me a good foundation. And a lot of entrepreneurship, and I'm sure as many of your listeners know or will know, is you just kind of learn on the fly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to be scrappy. You're like, got a problem. How do we solve? That's all it is, right? It's like the first problem is I want to make money and live. Like, what did you say? Your 3 things, like you want to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, right? Like
exactly.
Me too. Like I'm like, I cannot work for someone else. I just can't. It's impossible.
I was talking to someone the other day. They're interviewing me on a podcast, and they're like, do you ever see yourself going back to a corporate role? And I'm like, it's really hard for me to take orders from people. So like, no, I don't think I could ever go back to a corporate role.
I just can't do it. But anyway, I won't get into some of the jobs that I quit and why. But
yeah, we could have a whole podcast on that.
Yeah,
trust me.
no.
I've had bad managers, people that have, so I get it.
But I think it's important. There's kind of this movement of people like hating on their bosses. And it's like, no, like, dude, if you're working for someone, respect that. If you choose not to, then cool. but people will
Yeah.
poo-poo on like their boss, and entrepreneurship is not easy, right? So
No.
to me, if you have a job, earn an honest paycheck, like, or whatever you're getting paid, commission, whatever that might be, work your butt off, learn, grow, be appreciative that this person is paying you to learn and grow and develop, and recognize, like, because if you point the finger and blame, you're never going to progress. If you look inward though, and you're like, hey, I want to do things differently, this is how I want to do it. Cool. Then man up or woman up and get out there and make it happen. Because pretty soon, if you are an entrepreneur, then you're going to be the one hiring people. And if you have that mentality, like, it's going to be hard for you. Anyway, there's all kinds of stuff we can go into that. But
No, yeah. And you have to know is like, I think I appreciate it more now, but like an employer's taking a risk on you. They don't know if you're going to succeed at the job or not. And like, sure, you might not like having a boss, but like you need to give 100% of your effort. Sometimes I don't like my boss, so I'm going to give 100% of my effort. I know you're taking a risk on me. And like you said, look inward before you look outward. And what's that learning opportunity that you can have? So I think that's a really important topic as well, is you need to be able to lead people, but you also need to be able to be led if that needs to be the situation.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, what do we got next?
So then that fourth combination, that fourth punch, I guess, is also cold calling the same list. So you're going to get the phone number from the VA. Again, that was step one. Get that email, that LinkedIn, that phone number. Just cold call them. There's a bunch of scripts that you can use. I don't have a tried and true script for people to use. I can give suggestions, but you also want to be cold calling these same people and just trying to get a conversation. We've seen a lot of good close rates when it comes from phone calls as well.
As you guys know, we love investing in real estate. But until recently, it was always my thought and understanding that you needed quite a bit of capital to get into some of these funds. A lot of these commercial properties that you and I have invested in that have done so well for us, they have minimum investments. You need to be an accredited investor. There's just a lot of complexity to it. But then recently, I started to hear about this company called Fundrise. Buy low, sell high. It's a simple concept, but not necessarily an easy concept. But Fundrise has made it so much easier. Right now, with interest rates being what they are and the market being where it's at, is a great time to get into real estate. Prices are falling and properties are available at a discount, which means Fundrise believes now is the time to expand the Fundrise Flagship Fund's $1 billion real estate portfolio.
You can add the Fundrise Flagship Fund to your portfolio in minutes by visiting fundrise.com/MU. That's fundrise.com/MU. Carefully consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Fundrise Flagship Fund before investing. This and other information can be found in the fund's prospectus at fundrise.com/flagship. This is a paid advertisement.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Okay. So the question everyone is asking, I'm sure, is who is the person calling and emailing? And I know you have Instantly set up.
Yeah.
But who's responding? Who's reaching out on LinkedIn? Is LinkedIn automated as well?
I know LinkedIn is automated as well.
Yeah, I'm saying Instantly. Sorry. Okay. So they're both automated. So that's kind of like set it and forget it until they respond.
Yep.
They respond. Who's the person replying to those emails and messages on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Well, if it's from your account, it's probably going to be you. It also depends what size of an organization. If you're a solopreneur, like you're going to be doing all this. If you're able to hire people, I would definitely recommend hiring like a BDR to be doing this for you, because this is very hard work and you could probably be working out their tasks. So if it's LinkedIn, I send it through my LinkedIn, so I'm going to reply myself. If it's through Instantly, Cody, who I was talking about earlier, nobody try and poach Cody because I love Cody.
Yeah.
yeah. If you're listening to this, do not poach him.
We're like bleep out his name every time.
Bleep out his name actually. But we have Cody, who's a BDR. He'll respond to people through Instantly, and then he'll also cold call people for us as well.
So Cody aside, Cody does not exist. What is someone going to be looking? First of all, how do you find a BDR? What are you looking to pay that person? Let's run through some of those numbers real quick.
Absolutely. So if you're looking to hire BDR, I think it's a great decision for you. Yeah, there's a lot of hungry college students that would love to have a role like that just for experience, and they want to break into sales. So Cody actually reached out to us, I should say, to work for us. He reached out to us. But if I was going to go about getting a BDR, I would post on LinkedIn a BDR role. Depending where you're at, my first sales role I ever had was unpaid. I was only based on commission. And guys, that summer I made $0, just so you know. But great experience, phenomenal experience. I'm very thankful for that opportunity, nonetheless. But I didn't sell anything. I was selling Facebook ads to farmers. And I would call them. I'd cold call them. I was like, hey, do you want to run Facebook ads? And they're like, I don't even have a Facebook. And it's like, oh, well, okay, probably not then. But besides that point, so I'd recommend going on LinkedIn and then just posting a job there. You can pay them $0. We started out with $400 a month with a 10% commission. So any deal that closes that they open, they would get a 10% commission on that. And that was a pretty good structure for us. You're going to want to put meeting or quota deliverables. So you have to make 500 calls a month. You need to deliver 5 meetings a month. If you do that, you'll get a $100 bonus. So you can, for a BDR role like that, you can pay them a little bit lower, but just have their incentives be where they make their money, like commissions, bonuses, all that type of stuff.
Okay. Is this 40-ish hours a week, more or less? I mean, depends on what they're willing to do, I guess.
Depends on what you want him to have. When Cody got started, I believe he started out with 10 hours or 20 hours a week. So I'm not lying, he's not making the world's best money, but it all comes through that commission that he was making. If you close a $10,000 deal, you're going to get $1,000 right there. And for a college student, oh my God, I'd be begging for a $1,000 bonus as a college student.
But it makes more sense because $400 a month is not much for a full-time job. But if it's a part-time thing, then it's not.
It's a part-time.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the thing, that's why McDonald's can pay so little. The better your systems are and processes, the entrepreneurs, you got to go create something out of nothing. So
it's a great take.
Created these systems and processes and it can work for someone. That's cool. All right. What's next?
That basically wraps up what we use for those 4 or 5 step process when it comes to getting to your first 100K. And we used it for our first 100K, and after the 100K, year 2, we're halfway into year 2, I'll say. So whatever, a little over 7 months now, but we've already beat 100K in revenue. And it's just because we're refining our processes. We're doing it more at scale. And that's been a big thing. So we should be doing north of about $200,000 this year. So doubling our revenue and then some. So that's what we're doing here at Spacebar Visuals to get our customers in.
So, I mean, first of all, it's so, I don't want to say stupidly, but so stupidly simple, right? In a way, it's not easy, but the process is simple.
The process is right there. I just laid it out for people.
Yeah. You figured out something that you think might work. You had a hypothesis based on actual information. So it's not a total hypothesis, right? You're I'm pretty sure this is going to work. Tested it out, adapted, adjusted. How long did you do this by yourself before you hired Cody? Because Cody is essentially your only other salesperson / marketing person on the team, right?
Yep, exactly. So we are a team of about 13 or so, but that includes our designers, a co-founder as well, an operations guy. So that also includes them. But yeah, Cody and I are basically the ones that are focused primarily on our sales initiatives. Cody, so let's just say we started January 2023. So about a year and a half ago. Cody reached out to us initially in October of last year, September, right as I was getting ready to quit my job. I was like, hey, I want to work for you guys. I'll work for free for you. I just want to work for you guys. So we brought him on in October for some part-time work, and then he moved to a full-time position once he graduated school.
Okay, that's awesome. So what are your numbers? Let's talk about your actual, what you sell, what you guys do. You guys,
I
love how we just talked about the marketing and sales engine, because that's the blood, right? That's the lifeblood of everything. People didn't understand why I flipped 100 houses a year and never saw the houses. I'm it's not about that. I didn't have to, right? That's the product.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that a little bit. What does that team look like? What do you guys charging? Give me an idea of how the fulfillment and the delivery is happening with that.
Great question. Yeah. So what we're charging is we do about 3 different packages here. And typically when you're going to speak to a video marketing agency, one video is going to run you about $20,000. It is insane what some marketing agencies will run you. And it's going to take them 5 months to do. At Star Visuals, what we really wanted to do is provide a solution that is definitely not the cheapest in the market. Like we are not a cheap solution, but like it's also priced towards startups because I love working with startups. I love startups. I think they are so much fun. I just love the fast pace of it. Like I love working with the people at startups. So it's definitely priced more favorably to startups. So our 3 packages are, we have a 3 video package for $9,000. We have a 5 video package for $12,000. And then we have a 10 video package for $20,000. So we're not cheap, but we're not $20,000 for one video. Yeah, that's what we charge. And basically from start to finish, a video is going to take you about 4 to 5 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, let's say, all depending on revisions. And like I said, we have script writers, we have storyboard artists, we have animators, voiceover actors as well. So we really handle the whole process for marketing teams.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, video, it's like anything. It's like, well, it just depends, right? What, like a video could be something someone creates on their phone, or it could be like a $100 million movie essentially, right? So yeah, it just depends on what the deliverables are. And I checked out your website and you guys have some awesome stuff. How do you find your talent essentially to help you fulfill all this?
Yeah. So how we have found our talent is through Upwork, actually. Starting early on, we had someone on our team that was a designer, and like looking back on it, this is how I know my video knowledge has expanded drastically. Like our videos were bad a year and a half ago, really, really bad, like embarrassingly bad.
Yeah.
But an Upwork can be the Wild West. You can get some people that are really, really bad, and you can get some people that are really, really good. Thankfully, we found like 2 to 3 storyboard artists that are amazing for us that we have loved to work with. So they're all based in the EU. They handle all of our storyboards for us. And then our animators are in the EU as well. So really fun team. Yeah, they're awesome. So that's how we found people and where they're based out of.
Awesome. So you're doing videos for, they can get a 3-pack for 9,000. Was that right?
Correct.
5-pack for 12 or a 10-pack for 20.
Yep.
What does it cost you to produce a video? I'm just helping people run through some of these numbers here. And the thing is, we're talking about videos like these numbers, like understanding numbers. Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to listen to this podcast because it's talking about this specific business. It's like, no, once you learn, like business is all about being a detective. Like everything has clues, right? Like if you listen to 10 or 20 different podcast episodes and hear the story of a certain person and what they've done, like you're going to be able to put that into your own idea and pull elements from every situation. So
absolutely. Yeah. So what we strive for here at Star Visuals is on each video project that we do, we try to hit over 65% profitability based on like everything that's run into it. So all of our videos, just looking at we built out a customer profitability sheet where basically we can see how much each video costs based on like how many packages they bought and everything. So just looking at some numbers here, all of our videos cost us about $500 to about $700 to make, depending on like the scope of work. So we really try to be above that 65% profitability portion, but I'd say about $500 to $700 or so.
I love it, man.
Yeah. So pretty healthy margins. It's a business model that works. It's a lot. Video is not easy to learn and it's not easy to execute, but that's why we are now considered video experts. Maybe not a year and a half ago, but we've gotten a few reps in.
I love it. So something I like to do, and I feel like you do this well, you do this as well on your guys' show, is maybe share with us a little bit. Like, let's say someone wanted to create video on their own, like give them those tips. And I feel like you're open to this because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh no, it's my product. Because what will happen is some people will go do it on their own and some people like might reach out to you, right? That's my personality. Yeah. I'm like, oh, might do a little bit of this or reach out to the person. But what would you recommend to someone if they did want to make some quality videos on their own?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to and you don't have a learning curve, I will say it'll probably take a while before you get to that quality standpoint where you can actually put it on like a website that is actually producing like revenue. Of course, you can, that makes it look very good. But there's a bunch of different tools. We just put up a blog actually of like the top 10 video production tools that you can use. Obviously, like After Effects, all of the like Adobe Suite. That's probably going to be your best bet for actually to develop these videos. So I'll learn Adobe, After Effects, Premiere, all that good stuff. And I feel like that's going to be your actual best launching point. Check out our blog of like the top 10 video production tools that you guys can use. But video is very hard to learn. So if you do it, like kudos to you. You're an entrepreneur at heart for sure. But yeah, definitely consider the time that it does take to create awesome videos.
All right. So let's transition real quick into UpFlip. So you have your own business, but here we are doing an interview for another company. Like why? How did that happen? Like, share a little bit about that with me and then what you've learned from all the people that you've interviewed, which I may have just answered the question that I asked. But
Yeah. So UpFlip is an amazing team, and their mission is like so in line with like what I love to do. I love entrepreneurship. I'm like a nerd when it comes to entrepreneurship, and UpFlip like generally makes me so excited. I got started with podcasting in August of 2020 when I was going to be a senior at the University of Iowa. And my first podcast was the Business Cloud, where I actually interviewed like entrepreneurs, very similar subject. So I got in contact with the UpFlip team in March about potentially becoming a podcast host, and I was all for it. I'm still all for it. I get to interview like entrepreneurs, like have these amazing conversations with even more successful people than I had at the Business Cloud. Like I was like, please sign me up for that. So I've been the podcast host for the UpFlip podcast for about 6 months now, 5 months now, and have learned a ton. We have interviewed some amazing entrepreneurs on the show. And going back to what I said earlier, like a few takeaways. One of them is like know your metrics, reverse engineer those metrics to actually have predictable revenue. Like there's just so many different lessons I've learned from UpFlip. It is a phenomenal resource for people that want to get started, similar to the Millionaire University.
I love it. And obviously, I mean, do you get paid for this, or is it just like an opportunity to connect with people? I mean, you can share or don't share anything you want. We can always.
Yeah. I'm definitely happy to share. I won't share what I get paid with them, but yeah, I do get paid to be their host. I am the most grateful person in the world that I, one, get paid to do what I love, and two, I get to have like the amazing conversations that I do get to have. So one, yes, I do get paid, very grateful for that. But two, like the conversations I have are generally so amazing that I am over the top grateful for like the people that I get to connect with.
I love it. And that's how our hosts are as well. Like they get paid, but they also love it so much. Like their time, if you just look at their time is probably worth more. Yeah. But they're like, I'm literally getting paid to interview amazing people and learn and grow and like connect and and potentially have other clients for my other business. And yeah, so it's a pretty cool.
Yeah, the podcasting, like I would recommend anyone to get involved with podcasting. Like the opportunities that you will have, the doors it'll open, the conversations you will have are like truly life-changing. And yeah, on the UpFlip podcast, I've probably done 30, 40 episodes maybe. And those conversations have been just amazing to have. Like the people that get on UpFlip are amazing, and like a ton of great resources for entrepreneurs that actually want to get their business started.
I love it. So I think I know the answer to this, but you mentioned get involved in podcasting. Like why not start your own? Why do podcasting with UpFlip versus do your own? Just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can get a paid podcasting gig right out of the gates, definitely do it. I'm not going to tell someone to like not get paid for doing something they love, but I feel like those would be very hard to come by. You can definitely find them. They are harder to come by, but getting started with podcasting, like just get started with it. You'll have 100% creative freedom. You're going to learn a ton of skills like video editing, audio editing, how to host a great interview, which also just helps with your personable skills. And podcasting has helped me with my sales skills, particularly as well. So if you can get paid as a podcast host right out of the gates with zero podcast experience, like great, like do it. Like why not? But two, if you can't do that, I would just recommend starting your own podcast, and you'll have 100% creative freedom and you'll learn a lot on the way.
Love it. All right, Ryan, dude, this has been awesome, man. You're super fun to talk to. I feel like this was pretty informal, which I love, like just natural and easy to talk to. You have a lot of cool things going on, like 25, man. That's insane.
I appreciate it.
I love it, man. It's not hard to tell where you're going to be 5-10 years from now. And not even that you need to like get somewhere, because sometimes it's all like the whole living in the moment, like someday.
Yeah.
But dude, it's amazing. You're just taking action. So I know we already talked a lot about your business and UpFlip, but where can people go to learn more about you, learn more about UpFlip, and then give us your final words of advice before we cut out?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you, one, for the opportunity to like come on the podcast. I enjoyed speaking with you as well. So thank you, one, for the opportunity. If you guys want to learn anything about like that system that I said, you guys can reach out to me just on LinkedIn, Ryan Atkinson, CEO of Spacebar Visuals, or send me an email at ryan@spacebarvisuals.com. If you guys want to learn more about UpFlip and the great resources are there, you can go to upflip.com and just check out all the courses we have, blogs that we have, the podcast that we have as well. One piece of advice, you just said it right there. I'm 25 and like I've been running this business for now a year and a half. The biggest thing that will separate someone that wants to start a business and someone that wants to start a business and then someone that actually does is like the person that does like actually takes action. And that was the hardest thing for me to do young in my career, was actually take action on like a business that I wanted to start. So my advice for anyone that wants to get started, just take action, find that first step, go. Once you find that one, go. So that'd be my advice for anyone listening.
I love it, Ryan. It's been amazing. You're a stud. We'll link up to all that in the show notes. And yeah, we'll have to have you on again sometime. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin.
Woo, doggy. Was that some good stuff or what? I love how Ryan just keeps it so down to earth, just so chill. Like, this is what I do. We're killing it. You can do the same thing. Go, 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 go. I'm super chill too, if you haven't noticed. The thing I love about business is there are a million different things you can do, and there are a million different ways you can do it. That equals any combination of 1 trillion ways that you can make money in business. And all you need is one. Just one. That's it. Just one. So get out there and make it happen. If you like today's episode, please share with a friend. As I mentioned in our last episode, Tara and I are working hard on the first ever Millionaire University course. So stay tuned for that and much more goodness to come. Go to millionaireuniversity.com to sign up for our newsletter. Stay up to date on all the good things happening here at MU HQ. And we will see you next time on the Millionaire University Podcast. Class dismissed.